But it's the ones that are willing to take action, bet on themselves, right? To overcome whatever it is that's holding them back. It's like, and you're in the perfect spot, right? You're in that place of a little bit of uncertainty, excitement. Like if you were not, worried or nervous at any bit, like I think there's something wrong with you, but like you're right where you need to. And it's like, man, there's no doubt in my mind. That's my favorite closing line. There's no doubt in my mind we can help you. And so I guess if there's no other questions, Mason, like, are you ready to get started? Like, you ready to do this thing? And like, that doesn't sound like a, like I'm trying too hard. It's just like a dude, like I'm on your team. Like, let's do this. I know it's a big step.
Sweet guys. Well, welcome to the Money Magnet podcast. Today I have Chad Aleo coming in hot to crush it for us in terms of high ticket sales and really give us some golden nuggets about his journey as a high ticket closer and ultimately becoming a founder and leader of High Ticket Sales Academy. And in terms of his background, guys, he is a best-selling author on the book on high ticket sales. And this is literally the framework, literally the guide of how do you make this transition into this space. And this doesn't just come from thin air. He's literally done 30 mil in personal sales and has like a wealth of real world experience from door to door, B2B, and over 7 years on a high ticket role. Like that's literally unheard of. If any of you guys are watching this right now and you're in high ticket, most of you haven't made it past 7 months in a role. And this guy has done over 7 years doing multiple six figures, unheard of consistency. And what that's led to is he's launched the High Ticket Sales Academy, which is a leading training platform helping aspiring and experienced sales pros transition into the booming industry of remote high ticket sales, guys. And through his books, you go check him out on YouTube, his sales academy. He's literally helped thousands of people build incredibly stable and rewarding careers in remote high ticket. And Chad, I just want to say welcome to the podcast, man, the Money Magnet podcast.
Yeah, Mason, excited to be here. And always fun chatting with someone, especially that's crushed it at sales. So we can't take it away. And you guys probably know that. So, but yeah, excited to dive in. Appreciate that intro.
Yeah, 100%, man. I'd love to take a little look at your background because you've come from a space that most people in the online game don't ever touch, which is door to door. And I'd love to get a sense of your background and how that's brought you to where you're at. Could you tell me a little bit more about where you started in sales? Like it seems like some humble beginnings door to door. I want to hear something about that for sure.
Oh, the purest form, right? Going door to door. I actually never thought I'd be in sales. I talk about this a little bit in my book. I originally was like, I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna become a doctor because doctors make crazy money, right? And that's what I'm gonna do. And then literally took the biology advanced bio class, weeded me out. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this for 10 years. And so I switched to business. And then I get recruited to do this door-to-door sales internship by one of my best friends now. His name's Maurice. And you get shipped off to a state you've never been in. Well, first, you got to go to training for a week, okay, down in Nashville. And what we sold is educational kids books and encyclopedias that help parents help their kids with homework. And
Interesting.
100,000 alum that have done this, okay? Massive industry. But every summer they send college kids out and you go knock on doors. And so I've sold in Virginia, Minnesota, Houston, Texas, and yeah, I did that 80 hours a week knocking on doors. Okay.
80?
80 hours a week. Yeah, we literally started from 8 a.m. till 9:30. That was like what they trained you on. Okay.
That's not a
And
little amount. That's a lot, man.
oh, it was wild, dude. And it was like a 12-week sprint. So like you're just dialed in. And obviously there's a lot of people that don't make it, but you're dropped off in a place you've never been and you literally have to build a clientele from scratch. I mean, there's no leads. It's just like, cool, your leads, go to this neighborhood, start in that city and become like the book guy, right? Where everybody knows you and you just start knocking. And so that's really how I got started in sales. And yeah, and obviously the rest is history, but can tell you more about kind of what that looked like if you'd be interested on
Yeah.
the
I am curious maybe because like a lot of the people who are going to see this, right, are in the high ticket game. And one of the things sometimes I feel like is missing in reps is resourcefulness. And you had to embody that to go crush door to door and to actually build that. So like what would be two or three things you would give for guys from that door to door mindset that they could actually take to the high ticket world to up level their game, either
Yeah.
skills or mindset?
Great question. And one of the biggest things definitely is going to be mindset. Now, skills, I think in sales are super important, right? Especially when you get good, because you're very aware of the conversation. Like you kind of have like that out of body experience. Like, I don't know if you feel like this, Mason, but you're like watching yourself having a conversation. You just like know what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Because you've got so many of them. You're asking a specific question to go this way, whatever. And that's a great place to be. And that's where everybody should aspire to be. But that is going to take a lot of repetitions to really understand what you're doing. Okay. But the first skill that I think a lot of people lack is that resilience and that like never give up mentality. And it's like, how do you build that? Well, the only way is you have to like focus on things you can control. And there's really only two things you can control. You can't control who buys, you can't control how people treat you, you can't control who picks up the phone, but you can control one, your attitude, right? The way that you show up every single day on every call, right? So you focus on that. And then number two is really just your effort. Okay. Are you actually putting in the dials? Are you taking the calls? Like for me, when I did door to door, it was knocking on the doors. Like I'm not going to make money if I don't do it. And then number two, if I do it and I show up in like a bad attitude because the last 10 people were jerks to me or told me to get the hell off their property, or I thought someone was going to buy and they just didn't, right? Or whatever. And I bring that energy to the next door. There's no way, even if the person is actually interested, they're going to want to sit down with me. And so,
Yeah.
like, those are the two things you have to master, I think, if you really want to crush sales. Because once you master that part where you realize, oh, like in the beginning, sales can be a numbers game, right? Because you're working hard, you're putting in the reps, you're going to find people if you have a good attitude. And then you realize, like, oh, if I really want to crush scale sales, it becomes a skills game.
Yeah.
I literally have to know what the hell I'm doing. But
Mhm.
most people never get there because they quit because it's too hard. Oh, like it wasn't meant for me, like all the different things. And as you already know, like they don't make it. And it's just
Yeah.
like couldn't develop the first skill, which is like get knocked down 10 times, get up 11, right?
Totally. That's like the foundation. And I think we all at some degree have that experience of having to go through that. My first year in sales, I did multi-level marketing while in engineering, and I think I only made 1,500 in commissions in a year. And
Oh
I was
my
cold DMing strangers on Instagram and trying to meet people in person, getting rejected left and right. But it's
yeah.
like I think you nailed it. It sounds like you had that resilience and also commitment to the long term.
Mhm.
Whereas
Yeah.
most people, it seems like they just give up after, a few months and they're like, it wasn't for me, rather than going through the suck of the numbers game to get to the point where they can actually be at the skills game. And I really that was a really good point you made there because a lot of people are so focused on the skills game right out of the gate in the high ticket game. But the numbers game is also valid. There's people who kind of crap on that and say it's not a thing, but it's literally law of averages, guys. You make more dials, you're going to make more sales, even if you suck.
Yes. Yes.
Literally math.
So true. I mean, I had one guy, brand new, never did high ticket, okay? And his first month literally made $200 as a setter for my company.
Hmm.
And I was like, dude, keep going. Like he's putting in the dials. He's getting a little bit discouraged. But I was like, dude, I'm telling you, you're gonna figure it out. Okay. Second month, first week makes $2,500 in commissions,
Hmm.
right? That would have never happened if he felt defeated going into that second month. Because
Yeah.
energy, all the things, but exactly what it is. That's like the first thing is like, don't give up, right?
Yeah. What would you tell a rep who's making it mean that because this is going to be a lot of there's people in the game who either are wanting to transition or they're in high ticket already. What would you tell them if they're making these experiences mean that they suck at sales? Like what would you tell them? Like if they make it mean that they're defeated, like what would you tell them?
If they're in that place of like, man, I'm not going to make it. This isn't going to work.
Yeah, they're like taking all this input and they're deciding that it means that they're destined for failure, right? They give up. Like how what would you tell that person? I'm just curious.
Get it back on track more so in the aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, number one, sales is such an energy exchange, right? And first thing I'd look at is okay, the days that you feel defeated. One, how are you starting your day,
Mm,
right? Because like you got to look back and just see. Because 9 out of 10 times, especially with newer salespeople, it's like they're waking up, and it's like maybe after they wake up, especially in high ticket, you have literally like you can do whatever the heck you want. No one's over your shoulder, making sure that you're like at your desk on time, that you're doing whatever the things you should be doing, right? Imagine going into an office where you like roll in 1 minute before your first call. Your boss would be like, "What the hell are you doing, dude? Like get here and get organized." And I
Yeah.
get a lot of people on this call. I'm like, I'll even say it true. Like I'm not perfect. I've done it before in high ticket. It's like I'm not super sharp. But first thing I'd say is like, how are you starting your day?
Mm,
Right? The times that I've crushed is when I got consistent, waking up early, going to bed early, right? Listening to something positive to start my day.
yeah.
Like that is the only way I can control my day is like the in my morning routine. I'm not saying you gotta do something crazy, 3 hour routine. It's like, dude, I'm like a half hour morning routine guy, unless I go to the gym. But it's like that is one thing I have a little bit of structure, a little bit of control, and before I go into the day of like, you never know what's gonna happen, all these fires. Like it just sets me up for like a good foundation,
Yeah.
right? That's number one. But man, if you're feeling defeated, I would look at that number one. It's like, how do I show up better for my people, and how do I set myself up to win?
Hmm.
And secondly, is just like going back to controllables. Like it's such a simple thing,
Nailed it.
right? Working hard and am I showing up like again with a good attitude? It's like if you're not doing those things, like I don't care. Like you're just not going to make it, right? And working hard is not just putting in the dials. I want to preface that too. Working hard is memorizing your script. Working hard is actually understanding your product, right? Before you start taking calls. Like that's another little thing that will help you in this space of selling anything, really.
That conviction in it, right? And I think what's so cool is like all these principles, these frameworks, this understanding, you've actually done something that most reps haven't done is you've gone around speaking around the world on this and you even made you wrote the book on it, right? So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that as far as, like kind of the key takeaways in the book and just tell me a little bit more about why you wrote it and what you're actually hoping to share with people, man. That's huge.
So nobody in the remote high ticket sales space, one, has written a book on this topic. And honestly, when I got started into it, it was a big transition. Like even though I did door to door and I had all this sales experience and I was like, I'm great at sales, no one actually was like, hey man, here's actually how you use what you already know and put it into this industry.
Mm,
So decide like, hey, I'm going to write this book. Now, it wasn't because of just that reason. CEO of the company I worked for, Chandler Bull, like, was a closer for him. He was always pestering me like, Chad, you got to write a book. You're so good at this stuff. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And it like took me 4 years to write it.
yeah.
Now, not from the moment I started writing, it was like, it was in my head. And I'm like, oh, are people really going to find it useful? All this stuff. And, when I finally committed to it, it actually was like a 60-day period. I wrote the draft and I was just consistent. 2 hours a week. I just like got it done because instantly I was like, all right, I'm going to write the book that I wish I had when I got into this industry.
That's
And
my
so it's literally the exact frameworks of how to actually conduct this call, how to do it the right way. So you just understand the basics because as you probably know, Mason, it is completely different. I mean, people are coming to you already excited and already interested. Does not mean it's an easy sale. It's really a finesse sale versus what a lot of salespeople are used to, which is like the hustle sale mentality, where it's
Mhm.
like work harder, and then I'll find all these people that are going to buy eventually. It's like, no, like you got to really be good at having a clear conversation. You got to understand how to get people in a headspace where they feel so confident to spend $25,000 with you in less than an hour,
Yeah.
right? And so, I just wanted to put something together that gave someone the frameworks where like, hey, if they can't afford a training, it's like the book will show you how to do it,
Yeah,
right?
they have that starting point. And you nailed it. It is a finesse sale, and it is about getting those people into that place of conviction and certainty that they're ready to drop up to 25K or more with
Yeah.
you after having one 60-minute phone call.
Mhm.
So, what are maybe some of the ways you show up or some of the things you teach, some of those power moves that help you build that trust and actually really lead people? Like, what are some of those tips you'd give people to actually establish that kind of trust where someone is willing to hand you $25,000 after 60 minutes of chatting with you? That's wild.
Well, high ticket sales is definitely e-learning industry, right? So you have so many people that are coming to you, okay? Because the company that you work for, they can teach them something or help them get somewhere that they're trying to go. Whether it's like I want to land a TEDx talk, or I want to write a book, or I need help growing my business because the marketing sucks, or whatever. Like you have a key to the door that they're trying to get through, okay? And one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of people do, it's like, yes, you got to ask all these questions, but a lot of high ticket closers forget to validate the prospect and tell them that they're a good fit for what you do, or you love what their business is and like, their vision of doing this TEDx talk, because like they're already a little bit nervous coming to you, realizing like, I need help. And it's kind of vulnerable to ask someone to help you, especially you're going to pay them money for the support.
Yeah.
I think one thing that's not talked about enough in this space is again, you got to validate your prospects. And that was one thing that just like helps the confidence rise, like
Yeah.
them feeling like, cool, I am in the right place. And then obviously all the other stuff, frameworks of, urgency questions, whatever, but validation is huge, right?
Mm.
I just need to know that, cool, I'm in the right place. I'm not an idiot for being here, right? And so like one of my favorite lines is like, man, from the sounds of it, this is after you go through discovery, goals, challenges, whatever. It's like, man, from the sounds of it, man, you could be like a really good fit to work with us. I love the fact that you have X, Y, and Z right? And I
Mm.
know the biggest challenge is why, but there's no doubt we can help you. And so, if you got a pen and paper, I'd love to explain exactly what we do and how we can help you get to that vision of, whatever, right?
Yeah, totally. That's so important, especially for these offers and these things that are, like you said, vulnerable.
Mhm.
Like someone's putting out their message in the world, they're putting out their voice in the world, they're putting out their purpose, especially for what we've sold. Coming from TEDx background, you were on the the side of books, like that's someone putting out their heart into the world.
For sure.
And so
Yep.
if you don't have that empathy and that connection, like they're not going to feel safe to move forward, right?
Correct.
And
And
I
I
think,
think with a business offer though, you got to hype it up a little bit because like entrepreneurs coming to you and they're like, "Oh man, my business is only making 30 grand a month or 40 grand. I really want to triple my business." But it's like they got to buy a $10,000 thing like to that business owner, that's a lot of money. And
yeah,
like you need to tell them that hey, they're on the right track. Man, like you got a cool business. Like I see the vision. I can see what you can achieve, but you just need that extra little bit of help. Like there's no doubt in my mind you'd be a killer fit to work with us, right?
mhm.
That validation is just like a little confidence boost on the back end, and that stuff you tie back to the answer objections, whatever, to help them overcome the fear. Because I would say like at least 90% of objections in high ticket sales, outside of like literally someone can't afford it, it's literally fear.
Here.
Like, how do we overcome that and get them to a place where it's like no doubt in their mind and they can trust me enough to say like I have the key to get you to the door you're trying to get to, right?
Yeah, to give them that conviction and give them that certainty. And you're absolutely right. That's something I mean, any sales training I've gone through has talked about it.
Mhm.
I'm curious what would be some of your favorite ways to deal with that fear, right? Because there's either fear of themselves, maybe they're scared of the company, they're scared of just investing in themselves. Like, what were some of the ways that you felt like you really crushed it as a top performer at self-publishing school, and now being, the leader of this high ticket sales academy? Like, what are some of the best ways you like to overcome fear and help people move in spite of fear?
So the biggest thing, and I say this in my book, if you want to make great sales, if you want to be good at sales, you got to, especially high ticket, like you got to have a killer discovery. Okay.
Mm.
And you have to get to the root of what's holding them back and like really understand where they want to go and why they want to go there and why it's important now to do it. But you can't be surface level in discovery. I'm going to tie this back to your question in a second. You
Yeah.
got to be deep. Okay. If someone's goal is to make more money, beginner closers, I'll say, okay, cool. You want to make more money. That's great. Move on to the next question. It's like, oh, actually, like, why is money such a motivator for you? Oh, well, I just, my whole life, I've always wanted to have a bigger house. Why is having a bigger house important to you? Well, we got a big family and like that's always been a vision for me. It's like you really got to dig into like the real purpose behind the goal,
Yeah.
right? And then, of course, when we're in challenges, the same type of thing. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because on the back end of a call, if you get enough stuff in the beginning, and then somebody gives you an objection of fear, uncertainty, or I don't know if I can, you can tie those objections back to
Mm.
things that they already said. And
Yeah.
it won't feel like an objection handling thing where it's like I'm trying to be scripted and say the perfect thing. It'll feel like more of a conversation. And what I love is when you feel like you're coaching people through their fear, where it's like, hey, man, you got this big vision, and I know it feels scary, but man, this is where you validate too, right? You got an awesome business, like you have a lot of potential, and there is no doubt in my mind that you can make it through this. But like, yeah, it's scary. Like growing a business is hard, right? Writing a book is hard. Having a killer TEDx talk is hard, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's the ones that are willing to take action, bet on themselves, right? To overcome whatever it is that's holding them back. It's like, and you're in the perfect spot, right? You're in that place of a little bit of uncertainty, excitement. Like if you were not, worried or nervous at any bit, like I think there's something wrong with you, but like you're right where you need to. And it's like, man, there's no doubt in my mind. That's my favorite closing out. There's no doubt in my mind we can help you. And so I guess if there's no other questions, Mason, like, are you ready to get started? Like, you ready to do this thing? And like that doesn't sound like a like I'm trying too hard. It's just like a dude, like I'm on your team. Like, let's do this. I know it's a big step, right?
Yeah.
Um,
That's
now,
great.
now you can dig in a little bit more, but that's typically how I like to try to close that
Yeah,
gap.
I love that. It's like that, like you said, validating people, and that's a big piece of what you teach in the book. Having a clear discovery around challenges, goals, vision, and getting the why behind all
Mhm.
of it, why it's actually important, where they want to go, what it means to them, what it does for them, so that you have some sort of context. And that's huge.
Mhm.
And I think it's one thing for people to read a book like yours and hear that, but it's another thing to actually develop the skills to be able to implement. And so that's kind of where it sounds like that's where you come into the mix is like, yes, they could have a book or yes, they could have YouTube videos, but how do you actually help people kind of take it to that next level, right? If they want to go from book knowledge and theory to becoming like a remote closer, how do you help them kind of make that transition?
Yeah. So the biggest thing is repetition, right? You have to put it to use, right? If you watch a video, okay, just like if you read a book, okay, on like how to ride a bike, does not mean you know how to ride a bike. Like you will never learn how to ride a bike until you actually get on the bike and start pedaling and realizing, oh, I need a balance, even though they talked about this, right?
Yeah,
You gotta get reps, and it's they're like the best training companies in sales. Like when I did door to door, I was actually just talking to my a friend about this the other day, but when I did door to door, I literally the week of training, I probably did 150 practice presentations in 7 days before I knocked on my
crazy,
first.
man.
Okay. And there's
Great.
just way too many people that never put this stuff into practice and they just like think that they've learned it. Right. And then they go and there's like, oh, it just wasn't meant to be. It's like, no, you just don't know what the hell you're doing because you don't memorize it. You don't understand what your script is. You don't understand your product and you have no context. You don't know how to answer the objection because you don't know really what to say because you just thought like reading through it 3 times was going to get you there. It's like, no, it's not what happens. So one of the biggest things we do is definitely getting people a lot of practice. And there's a ton of different ways we do it. Sure, you can practice with people in our communities, but we also have access to AI. AI is a phenomenal thing,
Hmm.
right? You have AI prospects that you can actually practice selling
No
to.
way.
And you can get like literally hundreds of reps before you even talk to a real person. And
Hmm.
then, that's the piece of like really helping level up people. Cause I already know for a fact that the people that have had the most success, even in my company, they've done at least 100 reps of closing or 100 reps of SDR outbound on an AI prospect before they even take a real sales call.
Yeah.
Right. And so they're
Gold.
10 times, right? So,
That's gold. Taking kind of the old school wisdom of prepping and bringing it to the modern, where most people just want the result right away. And
mhm.
I'm not sure. Did you play? This is kind of a side note. It'll come full circle. Did you play sports when you were younger?
Did. Yeah. Tennis, basketball, and soccer. Yeah.
I think anyone who has an athletic background gets it because they realize the ratio of practice to game. And
Mhm.
it sounds like that's what you're bringing into your program is like helping these guys and gals actually in a way become like a sales athlete. Like they're literally getting the reps, they're getting in the practice. So when it comes game time, they don't have to think about it. They just do it because they've been in that situation already. They're trained to respond properly.
Correct. Exactly. Right. It's all about repetition. It's about knowing the process. Now, of course, you're going to get situations that like you're not used to. But again, you're going to handle it way better if you've practiced somebody saying, I need to think about it, which most people need to think about it. That's what they all say. So if you can't answer that, you're already like dead in the water. Right. So, but it's like, what do you do? It's like, okay, cool. Hey, no big deal. Right. Everyone that says that they need to think about it, whatever. But I'm kind of curious about XYZ. It's like, have your plan of attack so that you can answer those objections. And when you get good, maybe in the beginning you're only closing like 1 out of every 10 of those. I need to think about it. But when you get good, it might be like 5 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 when you get really
Good
good.
at it. Yeah. Yeah. That's one of my favorite objections. I think it's like every
Um,
closer needs to get that
Such a
down to
small.
a science because it's just a knee-jerk response, right? It's someone's automated response of how they've been thinking.
I tell
Uh,
my friends when they invite me to do stuff. Hey Chad, like today's Wednesday. Somebody texted me and said, "Hey, what are you doing on Friday? You want to hang out and have a bonfire?" I'd be like, "Yeah, man, let me think about it. Just got to make sure I don't have anything going on." Even though I know I don't have shit going on Friday night. It's just like a natural thing. And if he's like, "Oh yeah, dude, what do you got going on?" Like if you just ask me the question, I'd be like, "Well, actually, I really don't have anything going on." Be like, dude, just plan on it. All right, cool, I'm in. Like, and that's all he'd have to probably do. I'd be in, right?
yeah. And that's leadership, right? And it sounds like the way that I see you sell and the way that I see you communicate, you're a very effective leader, right? Like you're able to help inspire confidence in somebody and actually make a suggestion of a direction when they're sort of in complacency and they're sort of just in the status quo, this stuck place where they're like, yeah, they're on the fence.
Yeah.
And yes, there are tactics, but like the thing that I see in you is like a level of conviction and a level of certainty and this ability to say, I genuinely believe this is going to help you. And you're installing that belief into your prospects. That
Yes.
transference of energy, I think, is like one of the things that I see in you that really stands out. And I've talked to hundreds of reps, right? Like when I get on Zoom with a guy like this, immediately I'm like, oh, wow, I believe in myself more, right? Like he pours that energy into you guys. And so for all of you sales reps that are watching, I would take note and look at how he communicates and the way he embodies himself because, guys, there's skill set and there's also energy and mindset. And Chad, I just want to acknowledge you because I think you have a great energy in the way you carry yourself, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, one of the biggest things that I talk about a lot is like sales is a transfer of emotion. Nobody
Yeah.
buys something. Nobody's excited about anything if the person they're talking to isn't excited. Now, you don't have to be a happy idiot, right? Enthusiasm can be shown in many different ways. And I think you realize that. Just like the
Yeah.
tonality shifts, whatever. But man, oh man. Uh, it amazes me how people like want to be good at sales. You're just like, dude, you sound like you're laying on a couch right now. Like no one's
I
on the phone.
appreciate you sharing that because it's just funny because the industry has these massive swings where it'll go away from a certain way or methodology, and there's certain people who are like, don't show any enthusiasm, and there's the old Jordan Belfort
No.
that was like, show
You sound
all.
like a jerk on the phone or something. I'm just like, dude, I would never buy from a jerk, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it seems like you found that really happy medium. And I guess just to get a little context for what you're doing, it sounds like you're mainly supporting people who are already in sales. So it's not so much newbies, like the guys who come to your program, the girls who come to your program, like who's typically like the good fit for the people who come to you?
Great question. So we do have our fair share of people that are new. So if you're brand new to sales, you want to get into sales, like of course you can work with us. All right. We have different layers of programs. So we recommend like a specific type of roles. Like setter is a really good role for a newbie. Okay. That's definitely a hustle sale. I mean, there's definitely some skill set too, but it's like you can be good by just doing the job. Literally knowing your script, making the calls, setting an appointment. It's not that hard. Okay. If you don't make it in that industry or as a setter, like you decided not to make it as a setter. That's how I honestly feel. Okay.
Effort,
Um,
yeah.
but as a closer, right? The people that really succeed as a closer, like out the gates. I mean, obviously there's people that like they've been in like the service industry, they've talked to people, they have like that natural charisma, but mainly it's someone that has some sort of one call close experience. Like they're used to closing a deal within a 1 hour time period. So think like door to door, maybe car sales, real estate transactions every now and then, right? But really, I would say someone that has that short sales cycle is the person that crushes it.
Yeah.
Long-term sale, it's like they can, but they're not used to it. They get uncomfortable when someone says, I need to think about it, and they don't really know how to answer that objection right then and there. I mean, that's the part where it's like they just got to be willing to
Mm.
learn a new path, right?
Right, 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 right.
Trust the process because this is not 60-day sales cycle. You will not make money in high ticket sales if you think everyone comes to me.
Yeah. You're gonna be in hopium. You're hoping that things change and hoping that you get deals. It's a dangerous drug, I like to say.
Oh yeah, 100%. I never heard that. That's funny.
Yeah. So I mean that's good to know then in terms of okay, so you're helping both. And I think that I was trying to wrap my head around is because you've had B2B experience, you've had door to door, you've had remote high ticket sales experience and done over 30 million in sales, which most people won't even touch even 10 mil. So like that's a massive achievement. Why are you so gung ho and so committed to like the remote world, right? Like why are you helping people make the transition to that world rather than like tech sales or there's so many different ways people could go. So what is it about remote high ticket that has you like so in on that?
So I did door to door, right? Just remind you real quick. I've done door to door. Sales, best time to sell door to door is after 5 p.m. Okay. Because everybody's home. Simple enough. Or Saturdays or Sundays or on holidays. No brainer. Okay. Terrible time to work when everybody else is not working, right? Business to business, lots of travel. Okay. I was working 60-hour weeks. I thought it was awesome. I traveled literally over the country, traveled 50% of the year to make 150 grand in B2B. And then you're dealing with all these long-term sales cycles. You guys already know, right? When I got into remote high ticket, working from home was this weird thing, and there was never a like it wasn't called that in 2017 when I got into it. It was just like inside sales job, and so I decided to do it, and it was kind of like a dream come true feeling because I remember when I was selling business to business, I'd be like, man, I was talking to like a buddy in the insurance industry. I was like, man, imagine if like people came to us already interested in what we're selling. Just imagine like how much fun of a like because we would feel like we could sell those people a lot more. And then like that was high ticket sales. Okay. Now it didn't mean the job was so much easier, but you guys already know, and especially in like door to door, it's like you are so familiar with trying to spend so much time to build so much trust on the front end, where it's like from going from this to like this much trust to like really just being an all-star at explaining a product and discovering a need. It's like, man, you close that sale in one call. You get to do it from your house, right? If you want to go into a different state or whatever or country and do the same thing, you can. If you want to make more money, if you're on a good offer, it's like open your calendar slots, take more calls. Why not, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it did kind of feel like a dream come true because it was like, sweet, I'm literally talking to warm leads and I'm taking them from home, and I think that was a huge win for me. And obviously, I was making good money doing it, which it just felt like it almost felt like it was like a weird scam out there. And I still think people like in other sales industries think like, no way that you can't
Doesn't
sell.
seem real, right? It's too good to be true.
Yeah, but the disclaimer is it takes a skill set. It's not like everyone's just gonna get it. It's like cakewalk. And I'm so over some influencers. I'm not gonna say names, but they're just like make millions of dollars, work 2 hours a week, and it's like that is so not true, right?
Yeah.
Like this is a real skill set you got to master, and then when you do, like you will never go back, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to call shots. Mike Barron out here in San Diego is selling the dream left and right. I would have a sit down with him
Uh,
any day.
oh yeah,
It's
yeah. I
like
mean,
it's like, hey, get your first 10K month, and these numbers you can make 10, 20, 30K a month, and Chad's done well over that in remote high ticket sales. Um, but it's like we talked about earlier, it's that willingness to get through the valley of despair, to get through the suck, that is going to separate the people who succeed and the people who just sort of get stuck in the very first thing. Like it's also that willingness to actually get worked and go through the
yeah.
learning phase.
And that's sales in general, right? And that's the one thing. It's like remote high ticket sales is an awesome sales opportunity for someone that definitely knows sales, or if you've never done sales, like it is probably one of the greatest sales careers in my opinion. But just like you said, getting through the suck, it happens no matter what you sell. Because man, wouldn't we just love it if everybody bought everything all the time? This job would be extremely boring if that was the case. You
And it
just
would
live
be underpaid. It wouldn't be paid well.
extremely underpaid, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what people do that work at Napa auto parts stores. People walk in, they buy something, and you
Order
take
takers.
over. And guess what?
I
You get paid
remember that's
15 bucks an
hilarious.
hour. It's like,
I remember one of the humbling months I had in the beginning when I worked with Taylor Conroy, and nothing was working well. Like I had the lowest close rate I had had. I had the lowest commission month so far, and I had a one-to-one with him, and he was like, "We don't get paid for the closes. We get paid for being able to deal with the no's."
mm,
And I just remember seeing, I was like, we get paid to deal with the shit and to actually be able to stay calm and grounded through all of that and just actually enjoy life and have fun. And like, we get paid to actually take care of ourselves really well and continue to show up effectively. I was like, that's a reframe. People think
100.
they get paid for the closes. I'm like, no, you get paid to deal with all of what's required to actually get to the close as well.
Yep.
Both sides of the coin. So that
Yep.
was a huge gold nugget for me and a huge takeaway. And not sure if that resonates, doesn't resonate. I'm curious your thoughts on it.
100%, man. And next level sales for like any people, obviously, I know we have a lot of salespeople on here, is having the awareness and the intentionality to realize when someone is worth fighting for and when they're not, right?
Mm.
Because you only get so much energy on a sales call or even in a day. And you got to figure out, is this guy I'm talking to worth trying to answer objections and doing all this stuff? Or is this person like literally there's just no shot they're going to get it? No matter what I tell them, their house is on fire. Literally, they can see it and they're just not going to buy the water that I'm going to put out the fire with, right? That's up to them. And it's like cool when you can
Yeah.
realize that and like not like end the call abruptly, but just like realize, okay, cool, hey man, no worries. Like I'll send you an email, let them be on their way. Then you talk to the people where it's like, yeah, this person, I just gotta push them just a little bit in the positive way, be pleasantly persistent. They will sign up and like that's the next level of being a real crusher. It's like knowing who to fight for, right? And
Yeah.
that's again like being okay with dealing with the no's and then finding the ones that are worth flipping and ones that are just not even worth your time.
Yeah. I always said there's going to be 10% who will buy no matter what. There's 10% who will never buy. And then the middle is our job to try to influence. It's that other 80% that we have a chance to actually use our influence skills. Right. And so just knowing that there's even some of the best closers, like, if you're closing at 40%, which would be high,
Yeah.
60, if you take 100 calls, that's 60 people a month who are going to say no. It's literally part of your job description.
I know. Yeah. And it's funny. It's funny because I tell people that have never been in sales before. I'm just like, if you've never been in sales and you're looking at the numbers, you would think someone that closes 20 to 30%, like 2 out of every 10 people or 3 out of every 10 people sucks at their job. Right. But in reality, man, if you're closing 30% on an offer and you're actually making pretty decent money, like,
You're doing
you know,
20K a month,
yeah,
possibly. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, and it's so funny. It's like batting averages, right? I actually talk about this in my book. It's like I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I thought it was a great example. It's like the best people that have amazing batting averages, they hit like 28%, 30% of the balls thrown their way, and
Yeah.
we're like, holy smokes, that guy's a stud, right? So that's what it comes down to is just it's again understanding that the no's are going to be there and you got to go through a lot more no's and yet to get yeses, right? And
Yeah.
there's too many people that are like close at 80%. I'm like, get out of here, man. People are not closing at 80% unless it's like after an event. It's a super hot crowd. Like there's stipulations where that's possible for sure.
Yeah, I've done
But
it at events, but that's about
yeah,
it.
like events where it's like, yeah, three
They
days.
paid for the ticket to be there. They're already qualified. They have high intent, and then you have 3 days with them to actually nurture, connect, and build
Yeah.
trust.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of stuff. This is what I appreciate chatting with you. It's like you've worked for so many companies as well, and you kind of understand. It's like, okay, there's stuff where people just don't know what they don't know, sure. But then it's just like, okay, what is real, what's not real? And you just gotta be able to, be conscious of that. But
Yeah,
30% close rate on any offer is pretty good, right?
you're actually pretty dialed in. Most of the time, the people who I've seen who actually have a higher close rate, it's because they're including upsells in it, and they have an offer, so they're including those units in it, and it's kind of baking into the number to make it look higher.
Yeah, like they could talk to like past clients and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I would agree. I'd agree. That can definitely help a ton, right? You're talking to someone that's already bought and
The
they had a great
trust.
experience, and now it's like, cool, spend again, right? Why
Yeah,
wouldn't they?
the
Yeah.
trust is definitely there. Oh, I'm curious, man. One thing that would be, I think, solid is for anyone who is out there thinking about like maybe they're stuck in high ticket sales, they want to grow and ascend with you, or maybe they're stuck. Like, what's one thing they should focus on? Let's say for the people who are in either door to door or in solar, like what's one thing they could focus on right now to actually break through to remote and make that transition? Like, what would be the first step you would give them?
It's a great question. What would be the first thing I'd recommend if somebody wanted to break into the industry? Number
Yeah,
one.
because it seems like that's really who you typically help, right? Like what would be like the first tangible, simple step they could take to actually start to make that transition?
So if you have sales experience and you're already starting to apply to roles, because there's tons of them, LinkedIn, Indeed, like you can apply to all sorts of stuff. Sure, there's Facebook groups, maybe not the most vetted offers in Facebook group. There are some good ones in there, but like whatever that's what you gotta do. What you gotta do. This is the funniest thing. The number of people that have sales experience and they don't, I mean, not everyone accepts resumes, but even if you're doing a video, like 60-second video of like why you should hire me answering the question, you should know whatever number of revenue and sales you've ever sold.
Hmm.
You should know if you've won any awards and you should write that crap down like, oh, I hit Pete President's Club or, whatever, salesman of the month. And, oh, I've done over $1 million in car sales. Like the number of people that are like, hey, can you just take a quick look at my resume that don't put any stats? I'm just like, oh my gosh, right?
I
Because
would agree.
when I try to hire someone and I look through stuff, like if I can see like real raw stats, like that is super, super helpful to be like, okay, all right, now this guy had the guts to tell me like his stats. And also I know sales where it's like, is he charismatic enough where like I feel like I can believe what he's shared, right? But like that's number one. Whatever you've sold, number, revenue.
Go document it. If
Yeah.
you haven't documented it already, like, and I've done that where every offer I've ever sold on, it's like, here's the total contract value and the number of units and everything from everything I've ever sold.
Yeah.
That way
Yeah.
it's all added up. It's in a doc. And yeah, I was helping one of my buddies get a role the other day, and he's actually he's in, what do you call it? Door to door, like gutters. And
Cool.
he actually is trying to make a transition over into remote. And I said the same thing to him, man. It was like, put the numbers. And it's like, I've sold 7 mil. I've done this many units. And I was like, that's a powerful pitch. Like, I'm sold.
Exactly. Versus saying like I've been in sales for 7 years. Okay, we know guys that have been in sales for 7 years that make 80 grand a year. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay.
They're just doing the bare minimum. So I love that as a simple, tangible takeaway for whoever's out there and you're looking to make that transition. One thing would be simply go document all of your stats and from past offers, past jobs, put it in a single document so you have it there. You can refer to it and you will look exponentially better than all the other reps who are just being vague and all over the place with their intro videos. That's huge.
And then I would say practice like a good intro video. I mean, that's another given one because you'll get a lot of that in this space because people really want to hear like, are you confident, clear, concise? Like that's all they care about. Is he worth getting to interview number two? Because
Mhm.
that's literally all you should care about. Not about landing the job on the video. It's like
First sale. It's the first sale to make.
how do they get? Yeah, exactly. It's like how do I get to the second interview? That's all you care about, or the first interview, right?
Yeah.
Rule
No,
number one.
totally. Well, I love that, man. Is there anything else you'd really want to dive into or anything you'd want to share with our audience of sales reps here?
I don't know if there's anything super specific, but one thing that I thought was really interesting, we were talking about this earlier in the podcast. I mean, I think it's really cool, and I followed you for a little bit, and I've seen you talk about this kind of recently, which I thought it was a really cool niche to go after, but it's also just like a cool impact thing, which is just like, what do people do when they make money?
Mm,
And like I think that is a really cool thing because I know so many salespeople, they get this massive paycheck and then they go spend it. And then it's like all of a sudden the next month rolls around and they just made 20 grand. They spent 18. They paid for rent and all the things. And they're like, oh yeah, man, I bought this and I put it all down in a car and I did all this stuff. Now they're rolling into month number two and they're so stressed out. So
mm.
like money to pay for another round of stuff or whatever. And it's just like, it's this never ending hamster wheel. And that's why I think a lot of people don't make it. Right. I thought that was just a really cool thing. And,
Yeah. Appreciate you sharing that, man.
yeah.
It was a big part of my journey because it was actually what I struggled with in the beginning. I was making incredible money, but I didn't have any systems or processes in place. And I kept finding myself on that hamster wheel and finding myself in a position of burnout because even though I was doing well financially, I'd still be kind of like net zero every month. And I was like, it's just something I wasn't taught as a kid. It wasn't something that I learned. And
Yeah.
that was a big piece of my journey was creating sustainability and peace inside of being a rep. Because I think a lot of people get into this, but the ones who can actually create sustainability and peace have consistency on sales, and then they have consistency in how they steward money. They have consistency in their rules. They know if a lump sum comes to me, this is how I divvy it up, and they're proactive in how they think about it. And for me, that changed my life because I actually started investing. I actually started stacking cash and being like, wow, I don't need to be attached to a sale, man.
100%. And that's what I was going to get to. Like, there's layers of things that you can do to be consistent. And I think that's like having a consistent attitude and being consistent at sales. Like, what you just said is so key. And I hope everybody like literally takes that where it's like, man, if I set myself up for success, I don't have to feel attached. Like, this sale has to go through to hit this tier so I get X amount to pay for that. Because too many people, they make so much money. And then, like, you already know, it's like they go
If
buy a
you're
bunch of stuff. They,
if
they
you're
don't
calculating
even.
what you're going to buy with it while you're on the call,
Yeah, yeah,
that could
exactly.
be a problem.
But at the end of the day, it's like I think that's been something that served me a ton is like I was never this crazy fanatic and just spend a ton of money. But you know, if I was having a slower start to the month, okay, I was never like, oh my gosh, I got bills next month and I got all these things and right. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that, and then all of a sudden that's when offer hopping comes around, or that's when it's like, you
Panic.
know, they're just yeah, again, they're worried the sales isn't for me, it's too hard, it's too stressful. It's like, dude, no, it's really not, right? Just once you make 20 grand a month, don't get a $10,000 a month car payment, right? Just because you made 20 grand one month and next month you might make 10. Now all of a sudden you're like, what am I doing? Right?
Yeah. It's coming back to those basics and actually having awareness. And I think the one thing I give to people is like literally just go write what your expenses are. Like it seems so simple, but most people just don't know their numbers. It's the same thing. It's kind of the common pattern we saw of those reps who stand out. They know their numbers of their sales numbers, but then the ones who actually sustain and do well also know the back end, what they do with it.
Yeah. Best advice I ever got was pay yourself first, right? Before you pay anybody else. That means like bills. That means taxes. That means buying anything, right? It's like I'm going to give myself whatever, 30%, 40% of whatever, and I'm
Mhm.
going to put that away somewhere else, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, spend on my expenses, whatever. But that was the number one thing where I was like, oh yeah, that's the best way to do it as a business owner. Because if you pay everybody else first, there's nothing left over for you, right?
Yeah.
And in a place of like, what's next?
I think that's super smart. And one of the things I love to dive into with guys is like there is the skills of just knowing those numbers of what you need to save. And for a lot of them, it seems like there's some sort of mindset of avoidance, like they're just not willing to look at it and having to figure out what's actually in the way on the mindset side of just doing the damn thing.
Yeah.
They're think about it objectioning around finance, right?
You got to answer your own objections, right?
Exactly. And that's the best reps I know handle their own objections really well.
For sure.
They
It's a
handle
win.
them. They handle them like pros, man.
Yep.
Well, I really enjoyed connecting with you. And for any of you guys who are actually looking to possibly transition to remote, I'm going to put Chad's YouTube, his page, everything for the Remote High Ticket Sales Academy, so you guys can go take a look at that. And if you want to get his book and everything, we'll put everything in the bio, and you guys can, yeah, take a look at it. Connect with him on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever's best. Was there anywhere specific you'd prefer that they connect with you?
Yeah. LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever. Most of my content right now is on Instagram and LinkedIn. I know, but yeah, check out our website, highticketsalesacademy.com. Easy win. There's a lot of stuff on there, but yeah, easiest way to find us.
Sweet, man. Well, appreciate having you on. That was awesome.